Chosen one, stop scrolling. This moment isn't random. You didn't just come across these words, you were drawn into them. There is something sacred happening behind the veil of your ordinary day, something holy that doesn't show up with noise but with stillness. You've been sensing it, haven't you? That strange feeling in your chest that you couldn't explain, the quiet restlessness in your spirit, the tension that feels like something is shifting even though everything around you looks the same. That's not coincidence. That's divine activity. That's heaven moving. The final 2 hours of a spiritual window have now opened, and you are standing inside it. This is not just time passing, this is eternity touching earth, and you are right in the center of it. These 2 hours are not natural hours, they are sacred hours. In the realm of heaven, they represent a countdown not to your end, but to your emergence. A shift is happening not later, but now. This isn't a metaphor, it's a movement. While others go about their lives unaware, something in you has been awakened. God has been waiting for this exact moment to whisper into your soul, "Be still and listen." These hours are not for everyone. They are for the set-apart ones, the ones who were refined in silence, the ones who stayed faithful when no one noticed, the ones who broke down in secret, but still chose to believe. That's you, chosen one. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You've simply been hidden for a divine reason, and now the reason is being revealed. You've asked, when will things change? You've whispered, God, did you see me break when no one else was watching? The answer is yes. Heaven saw it all. Not one tear went unnoticed. Not one sacrifice was ignored. The pain you carried wasn't wasted. It was stored, preserved, woven into timing. And now the timing has arrived. These 2 hours are not here to tease you with hope. They are here to unlock what has been waiting behind spiritual walls. In the next moments, things will start to shift without your effort. Doors will begin to open without your knocking, and what once resisted you will start to move toward you. But it will only make sense if you remain still and spiritually awake. Do not waste these hours trying to explain yourself. Do not use them arguing with people who never had the eyes to see your calling. Do not spend them doubting what God already confirmed in your spirit. These hours are holy. The air around you is heavy with movement. If you lean in, you'll notice the atmosphere feels different. It's not your imagination. Something eternal has begun to press against the edges of your natural life, and the timing of heaven cannot be stopped. So breathe. Ground yourself. Let your heart catch up to what your spirit already knows. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning of something sacred. These final 2 hours are not slipping away from you, they are rising to meet you. Time is not running out. Time is running toward you. If you feel this was written for you, comment 77 below and let heaven mark your agreement. This number isn't random. 77 is the number of divine completion and spiritual awakening. Let it be your confirmation. Chosen one. Something you thought was over is about to breathe again. There is a promise buried deep in the ashes of your forgotten hope, and heaven has not forgotten it. You let it go, not because you stopped believing, but because it hurt too much to keep holding it. You convinced yourself it wasn't meant to be, and over time you stopped mentioning it in prayer. But God never took his eyes off it. That unspoken desire, that silent surrender, it was never dismissed, only delayed. As C.S. Lewis wisely wrote in Letters of C.S. Lewis, God allows us to experience the low points of life in order to teach us lessons that we could learn in no other way. Your pain, your letting go was not in vain. It was a lesson preparing you for this moment of divine timing. And now, under the weight of divine timing, it is starting to stir again. You may not see it yet, but something beneath the surface is moving. The stillness you feel isn't emptiness, it's preparation. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was incubation. While you were questioning your purpose, God was breathing over what you thought had died. He wasn't finished, he was waiting. He let it fall apart so it could rise again in a way that would no longer break you. This time you'll carry it without fear. This time you'll walk in it with strength you didn't have before. And this time the fulfillment won't feel rushed or fragile. It will feel divine because it is. There is a part of you that has been buried too. A part that used to dream freely, speak boldly, and believe without second guessing. Life dimmed it. People dimmed it. Pain buried it. But God never let it die. He kept the fire under the ashes, and now he is breathing on the embers. C.S. Lewis, with profound insight in letters of C.S. Lewis reminds us, you do not have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body. This truth unveils the essence of who you are, a soul preserved by God, untouched by the world's attempts to dim your light. Don't be surprised if you suddenly feel the return of vision, clarity, or courage. Don't dismiss the moments when something inside you rises again with no logical explanation. That's resurrection. Chosen one, not just of your purpose, but of your soul. And while what's awakening in you may look unfamiliar, it's actually who you were always meant to be. This version of you, the one who survived, the silence, the betrayal, the waiting, is stronger, wiser, and more aligned with heaven than ever before. You're not who you were when the promise was first given. And that's exactly why now is the time. So when old places resurface, when names from the past echo in your dreams, when memories return without the sting, don't run from them. God is repurposing the places of pain into places of testimony. What once made you cry will now bring you peace. The places where you were broken are being rewritten into altars of glory. The people who left are no longer your reference point. You are being restored, not quietly, but completely. Let this truth settle into your spirit. Nothing was wasted. Not the delay, not the heartbreak, not the waiting. Every part of your journey has led to this moment. And now what was buried is being awakened, not by your effort, but by God's breath. Chosen one, someone who once turned their back on you is about to return, but not in the same way they left. This is not a loop, not a test, not another heartbreak waiting to happen. This is divine reversal. For a long time, their silence seemed like rejection, their absence like abandonment. You tried to understand it, prayed through it, grieved it quietly while pretending it didn't touch you as deeply as it did. But heaven saw how deeply it cut, and heaven waited until the right hour, this hour, to begin the turning. What you didn't know is that while you were healing, they were remembering. While you were growing in silence, they were trembling in reflection. They rejected you not because you were unworthy, but because they weren't ready. Pride blinded them. Fear silenced them. But time and the hand of God is now forcing truth to rise to the surface. They cannot outrun what's been stirring in their conscience. What they buried is now breaking through, and the regret they carry is heavier than they ever expected. They will not come boasting. They will come quietly, reverently, carrying sorrow, awe, and a weight of unfinished truth. You won't need to fight to be understood this time. You won't need to rehearse your pain or defend your story. They already know. Heaven has already spoken to their spirit. You are not the same person they walked away from. And that is what will shake them, because what they thought was temporary distance has now revealed itself to be a sacred setup for you, for them, and for the unfolding of something neither of you could have written. But hear this clearly, chosen one. Their return is not your reward, your growth is. Their apology is not your validation, your peace is. Whether their presence returns for a season or a lifetime, your worth no longer depends on who stays or goes. God didn't keep you hidden just to be found by someone who couldn't see you before. He kept you hidden so that when they finally did see you, it would be through eyes that have been changed by Him. So when the knock comes, literal or spiritual, don't panic. Don't resist. Don't run to repair what God already restored within you. Instead, be still. Watch closely. Let your spirit do the listening. You will know if the words they bring are real, because your soul will feel peace, not pressure. You will feel clarity, not confusion. And you will no longer be the one trembling, they will. Let your healing speak louder than your history. Let your strength be the confirmation And above all, remember, you were never forgotten. You were protected. You were preserved. And now the one who once walked away will finally see the light that never left you, even when they did. Chosen one, not everyone who stood beside you was sent by God. Some smiled while secretly undermining you. Some praised you publicly while sowing doubt in hidden places. And while you sensed the tension, while something in you always felt slightly off, you tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. You hoped their affection was sincere. You assumed their silence was neutrality. But now the veil is being lifted, and what was hidden in shadows is coming into the light. This is the hour of exposure, not to shame you, but to free you. Because God is no longer allowing their presence to pollute your atmosphere. Those who carried your name into rooms they had no right to enter, those who used your trust to advance their own comfort, those who spoke as if they were for you but never prayed for you, they're being unmasked. The illusion is breaking. The spiritual fog is clearing. And you're about to see clearly what your spirit already knew. Not everyone was meant to walk with you into what's next. But do not let bitterness take root. That is not the purpose of this revelation. God did not uncover this to make you harder, but to make you lighter. You've carried people in your heart who were never meant to follow you into this new season. You tried to bring them along because your love was real, your loyalty pure, but they couldn't handle what was on your life. They were not assigned to your calling. They were attached to your comfort. And now God is gently cutting the cords. Chosen one, this isn't punishment, it's protection. You've outgrown their influence. You've matured beyond their manipulations. And the places God is calling you into cannot afford contamination from voices who do not honor what He placed inside you. That's why the shift may feel sudden. That's why some connections are dissolving without warning. Let them go. If it wasn't built in truth, it cannot survive in glory. You are not being isolated. You are being insulated. There's a difference. Isolation feels like abandonment, but insulation feels like alignment. God is surrounding you now with people who carry discernment, not just charisma. People who will cover you in prayer, not competition. People who will speak life behind your back, not death behind closed doors. And you will recognize them not by how loud they are, but by the peace they bring when they enter the room. So release. What you now see was false. Forgive, even if they never apologize. Bless, even if they never return. And walk forward without regret. Because the unmasking isn't a loss, it's a divine mercy. And when God removes someone quietly, it's often because He's about to bless you loudly. Chosen one, be alert. Something is coming before the clock strikes midnight, and it will appear familiar, almost comforting, even nostalgic. But don't be deceived. This is not a moment for sentiment. This is a test wrapped in familiarity. Someone from your past is about to reach out, not because their heart is pure, but because they feel your energy pulling away. They sense the shift in your spirit, and they're afraid of losing access to you. Their timing is not divine. It's driven by fear. And fear always disguises itself as urgency, as C.S. Lewis astutely observed in letters to Malcolm chiefly on prayer. The truth is, of course, that what one regards as interruptions are precisely one's life. This interruption, cloaked in familiarity, is not a detour, but a defining moment in your journey. A test of your discernment and alignment with God's plan. You must not respond emotionally. This moment demands discernment, not reaction. What you say, how you move, what you choose to ignore. It matters now more than ever. There is a holy surprise placed on your doorstep, and the enemy would love nothing more than to distract you just long enough for you to miss it. But not this time. Not after all the silence. Not after all the battles you fought, just to stay standing. You didn't come this far to be detoured by what once looked like love, but never honored your soul. This warning is not to instill paranoia. It is to protect your posture. Heaven is aligning things that will soon become visible, and what's coming will require your full attention. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you, he just needs to divide your focus. That's why the message will come in the form of a person. That's why it may carry a familiar tone, even a warm smile. But behind it is a subtle attempt to pull you out of position. Don't take the bait. Still your soul. Trust what your spirit feels beneath the surface. God is not trying to test your heart. He's trying to protect your harvest. The answer isn't in re-entering what he already told you to exit. The breakthrough is not behind you. The surprise is ahead. And the silence you felt lately isn't abandonment, it's preservation. While you slept, angels were assigned. While you wept, answers were being positioned. And now, as the final hour draws close, your ability to wait in stillness will determine how clearly you hear the next divine instruction. Chosen one, do not be moved by sudden emotion. Do not run toward noise when heaven is moving in quiet. A message will come, a name may appear, a memory may rise, but your peace is the signal. If it disturbs your peace, it's not from God. If it distracts you from what you've been building in secret, it's not your assignment. You've matured too much to go back. You've seen too much to pretend you didn't. Before midnight, a door will close and another will open. Don't confuse the two. You're not being tested to fail. You're being refined to choose rightly. Let this warning anchor you. Not everything that returns deserves re-entry. Some things look like reconciliation, but are really interruption. God's plan doesn't always come with a warning siren. Sometimes it comes with a whisper, and if you're still enough, you'll hear it. So remain still. Remain anchored. Midnight is coming, but so is the answer you forgot you prayed for. Chosen one, there is an answer on its way to you, one that you don't even remember asking for. Time has passed. Seasons have changed. You've shifted so deeply that even your prayers feel like a past life. But heaven didn't forget what you whispered when no one was around. God didn't discard the longing you offered in tears, the request you laid down because you no longer had the strength to carry hope for it. That very prayer is returning now, not empty but fulfilled. You may not recognize it at first. It won't look exactly how you imagined. It may come through a different face, a different channel, a different timing, but it will come clothed in peace, soaked in purpose and wrapped in a divine knowing that this is holy ground. Don't miss it by looking for the old shape. You've grown too much to receive it the way you once did. God hasn't forgotten your request. He's simply elevated the form of its delivery. This answered prayer is not just for your comfort, it is for your confirmation. It comes not only to bless you, but to remind you you were never unseen. Even when you gave up on what you once believed could happen, God kept it alive. He preserved it for a better time, a wiser you, a more anointed version of your heart. That's why you had to wait. That's why the delay was not denial. It was redesign. It was divine protection from premature manifestation. And now the release is being activated not because you fought harder, not because you were louder, but because you remained sincere when it was hardest to believe. God doesn't measure your faith by the volume of your cry. He measures it by the surrender in your silence. And chosen one, your silent trust moved heaven more than you know. You'll know this answer when it arrives. It will stir something deep within you. It will feel familiar, yet refined. It will carry both softness and strength. It will bring back the part of you that dared to believe in joy again. You'll feel tears rise, not because of pain, but because your soul will recognize what your memory forgot. This is not a random gift. This is a divine response. So be open. Don't brace yourself for disappointment. Let it come in. Let it heal. Let it remind you that even the forgotten prayers still echo in heaven. Even the whispered hopes still leave vibrations in eternity. And even what you thought was lost can be returned in glory. This time you won't have to chase it. It's coming to your doorstep. Chosen one, you may not realize how much your presence has unsettled those who operate in secret pride. There is one perhaps more who smiled in front of you but quietly tried to smother your voice behind the scenes. She didn't just envy what you carried. She resented that you carried it so gracefully, so quietly, without needing validation. She couldn't understand how someone who didn't chase attention could still attract favor, and so instead of honoring you, she used charm to block you. She positioned herself between you and the opportunities God was preparing, hoping her influence would speak louder than your anointing. But heaven has watched it all, and heaven has already moved. This is not a time for revenge. This is a moment of divine reversal. The charm she used to manipulate is turning into dust. The words she spoke in rooms of favor are being forgotten. Those who once listened to her without questioning are now suddenly silent when she speaks. Her influence is dissolving, not by your hand but by God's, because you were never meant to be controlled by the jealousy of others. You were never created to live in the shadows of someone else's insecurity. You were called, chosen, and covered, and now the light is shifting in your direction. Let this be a reminder. When someone tries to block what God placed inside you, they are not fighting you, they are opposing the one who sent you, and that never ends well. God is not just restoring your voice, He is amplifying it. The very places where you were silenced are now being turned into platforms. The very tables you were excluded from are now being reset with your name in the center. Those who once spoke against you will be left watching in stunned silence, not because you retaliated, but because heaven vindicated. Chosen one. You don't need to defend yourself. Your presence carries evidence. Your endurance speaks volume. And now even those who were once influenced by her false words are beginning to forget her voice and remember yours. That's how God works. He doesn't shout over the noise. He waits until the noise collapses under its own weight, and then He raises up what was pure all along. So forgive her, but don't follow her. Bless her, but don't bind yourself to her again. This season does not require old alignments. It requires clarity. Let her go with grace and walk forward with quiet power, because your voice once muted is now being restored, refined, and re-established. And this time no one will be able to silence it. Chosen one, you've noticed it. A name, a face, a presence keeps returning, not in the physical but in your dreams. Sometimes it whispers softly. Other times it's vivid, urgent, lingering in your spirit, even after you wake. You've tried to brush it off, reason it away, silence the pull by calling it coincidence. But it's not coincidence. It's revelation. That name has been placed on repeat by God Himself. You weren't imagining things. This is a divine echo, a sacred pattern sent to prepare you. The one whose name you've been hearing is part of your next chapter, not just because of the past, not because of unresolved longing, but because their story has been intertwined with yours in ways you cannot yet see. They've been undergoing a transformation, quiet, unseen, painful. And now, as you rise into your calling, they are being drawn toward you not by emotion, but by obedience. They will not come boasting or pretending. They will carry the weight of awakening in their eyes. You'll see it. You'll feel it. Not pressure, not confusion, but a reverent clarity. They will arrive not to fix you or complete you, but to walk with you into what God is building. You won't need to explain your silence, your growth, or your absence, because they'll understand. Heaven has already whispered your story into their spirit. Chosen one. This name is not a distraction. It's not a test. It's not your imagination running wild. It is a signpost from heaven, a name sent ahead of manifestation, so your heart would not be caught off guard when the moment comes. And it will come, not rushed, not messy, but aligned. When they arrive, you will know not by the sound of their voice, but by the peace they carry with them. This connection will not demand performance. It will not pull you backward. It will call you higher gently with truth, with presence, with understanding that cannot be faked. And when it happens, you will remember every dream, every nudge, every unexplained moment. You felt them in the spirit, and you'll realize it was God preparing both of you all along. So don't doubt the signs. Don't silence the dreams. Let them speak. Let them guide you not with obsession, but with discernment. Because what's coming is not a coincidence. it's covenant. And the one whose name you keep hearing is not a ghost of your past. They are a key to your future, one that only God could place, one that only God could time. Chosen one, there's a place, physical or symbolic, that you've carried in your memory like a wound, a room, a street, a chapter, a city. It may have looked ordinary to others, but to you it holds the echo of tears, disappointment, betrayal. For a long time, just thinking about it tightened your chest. You've avoided it, buried it, tried to forget it because it reminded you of who you were when everything fell apart. But God hasn't avoided it, and He hasn't forgotten what happened there. That place is about to reappear in your life, but not to reopen your pain. It's coming back to confirm your healing. The same ground that once saw your breakdown will now witness your breakthrough. God is rewriting the meaning of that place, not by erasing your past, but by redeeming it. He's turning your old pain into living proof of His power. The place that broke you is being transformed into your evidence. You may find yourself there again, walking into a setting you never thought you'd return, to talking to people you never imagined facing again. But this time, you'll carry peace. You'll walk in with clarity. You'll see it all for what it was, and more importantly, for what it has become, a stepping stone, not a trap. You won't be flooded with shame or regret. You'll feel a strange, holy stillness inside you, and a quiet whisper will rise in your spirit. You survived this. You were never alone here, and now you are stronger because of it. Chosen one, what the enemy meant for your defeat is being used for your elevation. You're not returning to relive the story, you're returning to reclaim it. The tears you cried there watered a future you couldn't see yet. The silence you endured there trained your ears to hear the voice of God more clearly. The pain that tried to define you is now being turned into a testimony that no one can deny. This is how God works. He doesn't just heal you and move on. He takes you back gently, only when you're ready to show you how far you've come, to remind you that even the most broken places can become holy ground. That's the kind of redemption He's writing over your life. Not symbolic, but tangible, real, complete. So don't be afraid when this place resurfaces. Whether it's through a message, a face, a door, or a sudden memory, don't run. You're not the same. You are walking into that space now, not as a victim, but as a vessel. What once held your grief will now host your glory. And those who saw you fall there will now witness you rise. Chosen one, you've carried so many unspoken words, truths you were ready to share, but no one was truly ready to hear. You've replayed conversations in your mind, wondering if you missed the right moment, if you should have spoken louder, sooner, clearer. But the silence wasn't failure. It was protection. You weren't ignored. You were being preserved until the time was right. And now, without your effort, that time is arriving. There is a conversation that's been waiting in heaven's timing, not yours. You won't have to initiate it. You won't have to reach for it. It's coming to you not because you pushed for it, but because it was divinely scheduled. Someone is about to speak words that sound ordinary to them, but will land in your soul like a sacred echo. Words you've waited years to hear. Words that carry closure or confirmation or restoration. Words that will shake something in you loose. And when they're spoken, you will know it. This is the moment. This is what I've been waiting for. The beauty of it is this. You won't have to explain yourself. You won't have to defend your silence, your distance, or your growth. They will come with understanding already written in their spirit, because God has prepared them for this moment, just as He has prepared you. What once was clouded by pride, fear, or confusion is now being cleared by divine light. And the person who once couldn't see you clearly will now speak with a weight they never carried before, because they've changed too. But hear this, chosen one, this conversation is not about reopening wounds. It's about witnessing healing. It's not meant to drag you back into who you used to be. It's meant to honor who you've become. You are not walking into this as the desperate, doubting version of yourself. You're walking in as someone who waited in silence, trusted without applause, and obeyed without answers. That posture has power, and that power is what they'll feel when they speak. So don't be surprised if it comes through an unexpected source, an old friend, a former critic, someone who once misunderstood your purpose. Don't be caught off guard when the very people who dismissed you are now the ones speaking on your behalf. That's how God vindicates, quietly, righteously, without drama, but with undeniable clarity. When it comes, breathe. Listen. Let your spirit, not your emotions, respond. Because this isn't about proving anything. It's about receiving what's already been spoken in heaven. You don't have to force this moment. You only need to be ready for it. And you are chosen. One provision is approaching, but not through the path you expected. You've looked for breakthrough in familiar places, checked the usual doors, prayed over the same strategies, and wondered if perhaps heaven had gone quiet. But God has not been inactive. He's simply been rerouting the blessing, so it arrives in a way that humbles logic and honors your obedience. A financial door is about to open, and it won't look like your past income. It won't come from the same system. It will be new, unexpected, and undeniably God. You won't have to strive for it. You won't have to beg, manipulate, or compromise your values to receive it. It's already moving in your direction. It carries your name spiritually, signed, sealed, and now finally being delivered. You won't recognize it at first because it won't wear the appearance of opportunity. It will come dressed in peace. You'll feel calm where you once felt pressure. You'll feel release where you once felt delay. And when it happens, you'll know this is provision straight from heaven's hand. God is using an uncommon path to unlock what was always yours. That's why it took longer, because the delivery route was holy, not hurried. He wasn't just preparing the blessing. He was preparing you to hold it with wisdom. If it had come too soon, it would have leaked through the cracks of your unhealed places. But now you're ready, not just to receive, but to sustain. Not just to celebrate, but to steward. Chosen one, this isn't just about money. It's about alignment. It's about freedom. God is shifting you from survival to strategy, from daily lack to overflow with purpose. The kind of financial release that frees you to build, to give, to rest, to sow, to walk boldly into the call on your life without the chain of constant worry wrapped around your ankles. Don't be alarmed if the blessing comes through a person you never thought would help. Don't dismiss it if it seems too easy. God's favor isn't earned, it's revealed. And when he decides it's time, he doesn't ask permission. He simply opens the door. Your job isn't to chase it. Your job is to be ready when it knocks. It may come as an opportunity, a call, a quiet message, or a decision you feel led to make. But you'll know because it will carry confirmation. It will speak to the very prayer you stopped praying because you thought the window had closed. It hadn't. It was just waiting for this exact hour. And now heaven's resources are being directed toward your name. Favor is about to find you. Chosen one, you were cursed in silence. Not with spells or rituals, but with words, with doubt, with whispered conversations behind your back. There were people who watched your delay and celebrated it. They mistook the waiting as weakness, the silence as failure. They believed the pause in your life was proof that God had passed over you. But heaven was watching, and what they didn't know was that the delay was divine strategy, not divine absence. You weren't stuck, you were being shielded. They tried to bury your name under criticism, gossip, and disbelief. Some even tried to erase your influence before it could fully form. But what they didn't realize is that you were marked, not by men but by God. And no curse can survive in covenant territory. No attack that was launched against you has the authority to land where God's seal remains. Every word spoken against your purpose is now being silenced, not by your retaliation, but by your rise. And yes, you are rising now, quietly, steadily, undeniably, not with noise but with evidence, not by proving anything to anyone, but by becoming everything God said you would be. This elevation isn't a reward for perfection. It's a reward for endurance. You stood firm when everything tried to break you. You stayed faithful when even your own heart questioned the point of holding on. You blessed others while bleeding in secret. And now that secret suffering is producing public glory, chosen one, the table is being set not behind closed doors but in full view of those who once doubted you. This is not about revenge. God is not petty. He is just, and when he restores, he does it in such a way that even your enemies have no choice but to witness it. They won't understand how it happened. They won't be able to explain why your name keeps rising in rooms they didn't invite you into. But they will know one thing: you were chosen, and nothing they did could change that. Don't shrink to make them comfortable. Don't dim what God is now shining through you. What he's doing in your life is not meant to be hidden. You are not rising to flaunt, but to reflect his glory. You are becoming living proof that obedience in secret births favor in public. This isn't just restoration, it's redefinition. The version of you they cursed no longer exists. What's emerging now is someone they never saw coming. So rise, chosen one. Rise without apology. Rise with grace and clarity, because what they tried to curse has become the very thing God is using to crown you. Chosen one, prepare your heart, because the next word from heaven might not come through someone you expect. It won't always be the seasoned voice, the respected leader, or the one with titles. In fact, it may come from someone younger than you, someone overlooked by the world, someone whose presence feels too small to carry something so weighty. But don't dismiss them, because God often hides his voice in humility, and he has chosen an unlikely vessel to speak directly into your spirit. This messenger may not realize the power of what they carry. They might say something casually in conversation in passing, but when the words leave their lips, they will pierce through everything, your doubts, your walls, your weariness, and hit the core of your soul like a divine arrow. You won't even expect it, but suddenly you'll feel that stillness descend on you. Your chest will lighten, your mind will quiet, and something in you will say, "This is not just a moment, this is a message." God is not limited by tradition or appearance. He does not choose based on status, he chooses based on surrender. And this messenger, though they may appear ordinary, has been prepared. They have been sitting in God's presence, being refined by silence, shaped by hidden battles. And when they show up, it will not be to impress you, it will be to awaken you. They are coming with alignment, not ambition, with clarity, not confusion, with humility, not noise. And that is how you'll know it's real. Chosen one, do not let your familiarity with religious systems blind you to divine surprises. Don't miss the miracle because it doesn't wear a robe. Don't overlook the confirmation because it doesn't come from the platform. God is speaking, and he's about to use someone who carries no agenda except obedience. This will not be flattery. It will not be performance. It will be holy. And when you hear it, when those words fall into your spirit like rain on dry ground, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember that heaven prepared you not to perform for greatness, but to recognize when it quietly walks into the room. This is how the next shift begins, not with thunder, but with a whisper. Not with fame, but with fire. So stay open, stay low, stay discerning, because the messenger is coming, and when they speak, your next level will unlock. Chosen one, have you felt it? That quiet weight pressing on your chest, that subtle stillness wrapping around your atmosphere. It doesn't feel like anxiety, but it doesn't feel like rest either. It's not fear, yet something in your soul is bracing for what you cannot name. Let this be your confirmation. What you're feeling is not confusion, it's transition. What you're sensing is not emptiness, it's movement. What's happening around you may appear still, but in the spirit, it has already begun. Heaven doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes, the first sign of divine acceleration is silence. Deep, unfamiliar, holy silence. The kind that makes you question whether you missed something but you didn't. You're exactly where you need to be. The silence isn't delay, it's delivery. And the stillness you feel is not because God is inactive, It's because he's moving in ways too sacred to be rushed, too precise to be seen with natural eyes. Something is shifting underneath your feet. You may feel disconnected from people, from routines, even from your own emotions, but don't panic. This disconnection is not depression. It's separation. God is pulling you back from the noise to fine-tune your hearing. He is isolating your awareness so you don't miss the knock that's about to hit your door. You are not being cut off. You are being drawn in, into alignment, into revelation, into the quiet chamber of divine instruction. Chosen one. This strange stillness is the signal that the doors are unlocking in silence. You asked for signs, but God is giving you stillness, because stillness doesn't lie. Stillness requires trust. It invites surrender, and only those who trust his pace can receive the kind of blessing that won't collapse under the weight of public favor. You're not just being prepared to receive, you're being built to carry what others dropped in fear. Right now, angels are being dispatched. Assignments are being rearranged. People are waking up with your name in their spirit, without knowing why. Things are aligning behind the scenes, and when it breaks into your natural world, it will happen fast. But it began in stillness. This is the silence before the sudden shift, the breath before the breakthrough, the stillness that means God has already started. So don't run from it. Don't fill it with distraction. Let it wash over you. Let it anchor you. You are standing on holy ground, and you didn't even realize it. What was quiet yesterday will become confirmation tomorrow, and what you feel now, this strange peace in the pressure, is the Spirit of God settling into your atmosphere. You don't need to do anything. You just need to stay present. Stay still, because it's already happening. Chosen one. There was a time when you longed to explain yourself, when you wanted to sit them down and say, "This is what really happened." You rehearsed the words. You carried the weight. You even blamed yourself for things that weren't yours to hold. But now heaven is stepping in, not to give you a chance to defend your name, but to show you that you no longer have to. This is the season where vindication will come without your voice. God is proving what you couldn't. He's revealing what they refused to see. The same people who misunderstood you, misjudged you, misrepresented you, are about to see the truth unfold in front of them. Not because you fought for it, but because God decided it's time. There is a difference between being proven right and being made whole. You've been chasing wholeness, not vengeance. And because you chose the path of quiet endurance instead of loud retaliation, heaven has written your name into a story that will humble your enemies and lift your head without you ever needing to speak. This vindication won't be loud. It won't come with a spotlight. It will come through movement, favor that finds you, people who start honoring you without knowing why, doors that open in front of the very ones who tried to keep you out. Your presence alone will become the evidence. Your fruit will answer where your voice no longer needs to. Chosen one, your character has already spoken what your words never could. The patience you showed, the prayers you prayed for people who wounded you, the boundaries you set with trembling hands but a steadfast heart. All of that has been recorded in heaven's courtroom, and the verdict is being released. You were always covered. You were always chosen. So let God speak for you now. Let the fruit of your obedience do the explaining. Let the rise that no one can deny carry the final word. You no longer have to shrink to protect their feelings or defend yourself against their stories. The season of being misunderstood is over, not because they suddenly get it, but because God no longer requires you to care. Watch as the very ones who whispered doubt are silenced by your emergence. Watch as their assumptions collapse under the weight of your resilience. But do not gloat. Do not mock. Do not look back with bitterness. This is not revenge. This is redemption. And the glory belongs to God. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You just need to keep walking. Because every step forward now is a silent shout to the world, "He was with me the whole time." Chosen one. Someone has been watching you, not with envy, not with bitterness, but with awe they cannot yet admit. They've said nothing for months. They've stayed quiet, kept their distance, perhaps even pretended they didn't care. But they've been watching, closely, carefully, noticing the way you kept moving when everything tried to break you, watching how your light never dimmed, even when they thought you were fading. What they once dismissed, they're now beginning to revere. At first, they didn't understand what you carried. They thought you were intense, too spiritual, too guarded. But time has softened their assumptions. Silence has stirred their conscience. And now, without realizing it, they are being drawn back not because of nostalgia, but because of conviction. God has placed a weight in their spirit, a heaviness they can't shake. Your name rises in their heart like a question that won't be silenced. What did I miss? Why did I walk away from something that carried so much depth? They are not being stirred to romanticize you. They are being stirred to recognize what they could not see before. This is not about reigniting what once was. It's about honoring what always was underneath the surface. God is awakening their spiritual eyes, not so you can be validated, but so he can be glorified through what he preserved in you. But chosen one, this is where discernment matters. Their watching doesn't mean you must open the door. Their silence doesn't earn them re-entry. This isn't about being seen. It's about being safe. If and when they approach you, it will not be for you to bleed into their hands again. It will be for you to walk in wisdom, to listen with your spirit, and to remember you are not who you were when they left. God is preparing a space where truth will surface, but you no longer need their recognition to know your worth. Whether they speak or stay silent, it changes nothing about your calling. You are not waiting for their apology. You are not holding your breath for their revelation. You are moving forward either way. But know this, their heart is stirring, their silence is shifting, and soon their mouth will open not with arrogance, but with reverence. Let your posture remain steady. Let your soul remain at peace, because what's happening in them is God's work, not yours to manage, not yours to force. You just keep living in truth. Keep rising in grace. And when the moment comes, if it comes, you'll know exactly what to do. Not because they said what you wanted to hear, but because heaven whispered. Now, chosen one, there is a knock coming. Not on your door, but in your spirit. You won't hear it with your ears. You'll feel it. A holy nudge, a sudden clarity, a trembling in your chest that doesn't come from fear, but from sacred recognition. It will arrive quietly, unexpectedly, without fanfare, and when it does, everything in you may want to retreat, to delay. Do hesitate, but don't, because this knock is heaven's signal that your next chapter is standing at the threshold. This isn't just an opportunity, it's an invitation, and with it comes the weight of decision. What you've prayed for is now approaching, but it doesn't look exactly like you pictured. It may come dressed in discomfort. It may stretch you beyond what feels safe. But chosen one, don't confuse fear with a lack of peace. The trembling you feel isn't warning, it's glory. The unfamiliar sensation is not danger, it's destiny. You are being called forward, not to survive, but to step into fullness. You've spent seasons knocking on closed doors, asking for understanding, for validation, for release. And now God is turning the pattern. This time, it's heaven knocking. And you must open, not with explanation, not with hesitation, but with faith. What's on the other side is not chaos, it's calling. It's not a trap, it's transition. And it will require you to trust what you feel in your spirit over what you see with your eyes. The moment this knock arrives, distractions may intensify, old fears may flare up, familiar voices may rise to convince you to wait, to pause, to play it safe. But chosen one, this door wasn't given to them, it was given to you. And if you're waiting for everyone to understand it, you'll miss it. They weren't in the secret meeting. They didn't hear what God whispered to you in the middle of the night. They didn't carry the burden through your silent battles, but you did. And now you must walk through what only your spirit can recognize as holy. When this spiritual door opens, walk through it. Even if your knees shake, even if your voice trembles, even if your heart races. Because fear does not cancel faith. It simply proves that what you're facing is bigger than you and exactly the kind of place where God loves to show himself strong. You are not being pushed into the unknown. You are being led into fulfillment. So answer the knock. Move when he moves. And know this, you're not walking through that door alone. God is already on the other side, waiting to meet you with what your soul has been aching for. Chosen one, you've known what it feels like to be needed but not cherished, to be admired but not protected. You've carried the weight of others' expectations, held broken pieces for people who only noticed your strength when it served their comfort. You've been the healer for those who never asked if you needed healing too. And now your heart has grown cautious, rightfully so. You've learned to protect your light. You've learned to guard your silence. But deep inside, there's still a quiet longing. Will anyone ever love me in the way I love? Heaven has heard that cry, and what's coming next is not just affection, it's alignment. Not someone who wants your gift, but someone who honors your soul. Not someone who draws from your kindness, but someone who will guard it like treasure. God is preparing a connection that doesn't drain you but strengthens you, a love that doesn't confuse you but calms you. This love won't be birthed from brokenness. It will be born out of timing, maturity, and divine design. You don't have to perform for it. You don't have to shape-shift to be chosen. You won't have to over-explain your calling, your sensitivity, your silence. This person will see it. They will feel it, because they were prepared in the same fire that shaped you. Their wounds won't scare you. Your depth won't overwhelm them. Together you won't be perfect, but you will be real. And real love knows how to recognize what is sacred. This love will walk with reverence, not rush. It will speak gently, not strategically. It will not play with your peace or shrink your vision. It will hold space for your strength and your softness. And it will cover you not just emotionally but spiritually. When they pray, you'll feel it. When they speak, your soul will breathe deeper. And when they look at you, it won't be with hunger, it will be with honor. But chosen one, don't go looking for it. Don't go chasing what God is already bringing. You've waited too long to settle for imitation. You've healed too deeply to reopen your heart for confusion. This time you will know by the peace that follows their presence. You'll know by the stillness in your chest, not butterflies of anxiety, but the grounding sense of safety. So prepare your heart, not in fear, but in faith. Because the love that's coming will not demand that you lower your standards or silence your calling. It will elevate everything in you that others tried to dim. You are not too much. You were simply waiting for someone who could see all of you and still choose to stay. And now that time is drawing near, chosen one, there are words you wrote when no one was looking, words, soaked in tears, written with trembling hands in moments when you weren't sure you'd make it. Late-night prayers scribbled into pages, pleas turned into ink, pain turned into poetry. You didn't write them for others to see. You weren't trying to be profound. You were simply surviving, capturing emotions too heavy to carry in silence. But heaven was reading. What you thought was a personal release was actually a spiritual record. Those journal entries weren't forgotten. They weren't just emotional echoes. They were seeds. And now in this season, God is breathing on those pages and turning them into prophecy. The very words you penned in weakness are becoming blueprints for strength. The declarations you wrote when your voice was breaking are now becoming the very truths He is using to shape your future. There will come a moment soon when you will revisit those pages, maybe by accident, maybe drawn by divine timing. You will read something you wrote in a season of deep sorrow, and your spirit will tremble not in sadness but in awe. You'll realize what I once begged God for is now surrounding me. The lines you wrote as desperate hopes will echo like fulfilled prophecy. The tears that blurred your handwriting will feel like holy water now. Chosen one, this is how you'll know you weren't just dreaming, you were discerning. You weren't just venting, you were interceding. Your words carried weight. even when you didn't feel powerful. And because you kept writing through the silence, heaven kept responding through the delay. Now that delay is lifting. God is about to take something private and make it prophetic, not for your glory, but for His. You'll tell the story of how you used to write prayers no one saw until the day they started unfolding in front of your eyes. And when you share them, people won't just be moved, they'll be changed. Because what you wrote wasn't just your pain, it was your calling forming in the dark. So pull out that journal, open the notebook, revisit the words you thought had no audience. They were never wasted. They were always being stored for this very moment. And now, what was once a hidden cry is about to become a living testimony. Chosen one, before this message ends, there is one final instruction, soft in sound, but thunderous in impact. Believe again. After everything you've walked through, after the betrayals, the delays, the nights, when silence felt louder than any answer, you are being asked to reopen your heart. Not blindly, not recklessly, but bravely. You're not being asked to pretend the pain never happened. You're being called to believe, because it happened, and you're still here, still standing, still chosen. God isn't asking for loud faith. He isn't demanding that you force yourself to feel confident. He's reaching gently for that flicker that never fully died, the ember you buried beneath survival, the hope you quietly covered because it hurt too much to look at. That ember still burns. And now heaven is breathing on it, not to consume you, but to revive you. You thought it was over. You thought time had passed you by. But God has been moving all along, silently, setting things in place, arranging rooms you've never entered, whispering your name in places your feet haven't touched yet. This isn't the end of your story. It's the doorway to the real beginning. You won't need to knock. Heaven has already opened the door. And when you step through, you'll realize this moment wasn't about arriving somewhere new, it was about becoming someone new. You've been transformed in the waiting, refined in the silence, strengthened in secret. And now when the light hits you, it won't be blinding. It will feel like home. You don't need to convince anyone. This isn't for them. It's for you. For the version of you that kept showing up when no one was watching. For the version that prayed quietly, forgave silently, and held on to nothing but a whisper from God. And now that whisper is becoming a command. Believe again. Not in people, not in circumstances. Believe in the voice that called you from the beginning. Believe that what was spoken over you still stands. Believe that your name is still written in divine ink, untouched by failure, immune to slander, and held securely in the hands of the one who never let go. So take a breath, feel the shift. Let go of the weight you were never meant to carry into this next place, and speak life over yourself, not as a wish, but as a witness. Say it, I am chosen. I am ready. This is my moment. Because it is. You didn't miss it. You didn't fail. You're not late. You were being prepared. And now the silence breaks, the pace quickens, the door opens, and all of heaven watches as you walk into the very thing they said you'd never survive long enough to see. Don't look back. Don't explain. Don't shrink. Just walk. Because this was always just for you.